like, yeah, I could have locked something up, but I didn't. I'm gonna get the son on board. And speaking of buyers list, he has this huge network, so he's able to sell a property and instead of making 10, make 25
That's easy money right there. Imagine that, right?
on it.
Man, that's the goal, honestly, man. Long run.
Yeah.
Try to have the list, the buyers list, the quality buyers list as well, not
Mhm.
just quantity. So
Yeah, definitely.
Well, one of the things I always think is if you can get all of these old timers, I don't want to say, you don't necessarily have to get them totally liquored up, man. But there's so much wisdom that these guys share or can share. You just got to get them in the right space,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So
What high school you went to, Brett?
I went to Russian Henrietta. Are you local to Rochester?
Yeah, I'm actually live in Chalai.
Oh, you do? Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice. That's we used to I used to play hockey a little bit, and we went out to the Scottsville rink, which is close by Charlotte.
Right. It's not far from here.
Yeah, nice, man.
all right,
Are
we
you
are
going to college or
actually.
you're not going to college?
No, man, I was going to MCC, and it just wasn't for me. I went for a year, and I was like, dude, I can't do this.
Listen, I wish I knew that a long time ago. I was really fortunate. Like, damn, I hate school. I don't hate school. I just hate that type of school.
Right.
All right, we are actually going live in 2, 2, 1. We are on. Great guys. We want to welcome everybody in Facebook, Instagram world, Spotify, Apple iTunes, and whatever other platform Ambrose tells me that we got to get on. Whatever Ambrose tells me to do, I just jump on it. This is the triad. Our partner Kivo may pop in for a guest appearance. As you guys know, Kivo is having a baby. So we anticipate that as soon as he handles his daddy responsibility, he will be rejoining us. But we are totally excited. It's been I think your partner Brett was like our second guest on our podcast, maybe.
So yeah, I remember that was a couple months ago, man. Not even a couple months ago, it was like 6 months ago. It was you guys have really grown this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally. I mean, we're in. We got 20 some odd episodes, and each episode it's interesting because the network and the quality of people that we've gotten a chance to meet is just freaking blown up. So I don't even actually want to waste any of your time. We're at the top of the hour. Brett, how do I pronounce your name correctly?
It's Abamonte. Feel free to say it however you like.
All right. I you know what? I didn't butcher it too bad.
No, man. That's perfect.
So Ambrose, just share with Brett a little bit about our platform and the audience that check us out on a weekly basis.
So Brett, the original reason why we started this podcast was, to enlighten be investors who's looking to get into the game but don't really know how to get into the game. We bring people who's been doing this for a while to give them the platform, the knowledge and everything else to give them that confidence to start, going about the business as well. So like for us, we started, but we didn't really understand what we were really doing. Just by listening to people who's been doing it for a while, we were able to build our confidence. So we are hoping to do the same on this platform as well.
That's awesome. I'm honored that you guys invited me on. I'd love to share anything I've picked up over the past year or so.
All right, man. So we are kicking it with Brett Abamonte. We got about 20 people who have checked into the live. That's pretty dope. My first question, Brett, is always the same. What benchmarks or what anchors were in your childhood that kind of led you to real estate? What was that like?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't have a figure in my life, I guess, that was prominent there. I didn't have a father or mother who was big into investing. Typical W-2, go to college, get a job. That a lot of people get told, get an education. The way I actually got into it, as funny as it sounds, is a Monopoly. My brother-in-law owns a couple rentals, and we were just playing Monopoly. And if I can speak freely, he kicked my ass every time. And I never was able to beat him. But that was kind of my first introduction. He sprinkled in Rich Dad Poor Dad. But really, I had no solid person telling me, "Hey, do real estate," other than YouTube and people like Max Maxwell. He was a big influence, and folks like him. So
Amazing, amazing. Ambrose, I don't think we've ever shared this with our audience, but the way Ambrose and I met, we were at a Rich Dad Poor Dad event.
oh yeah, no kidding.
Yep, it was a local meetup, and we were playing cash flow.
Mm.
And for those who are tuning in that don't know much about the particular board game, it's like Monopoly on steroids, where not only do they talk about the real estate side of it, they talk about stock. Well, cash flow 2 actually talks about stock options. So that might be something if you are a individual that you want to kind of groom your 19-year-old to be ready to jump in. Start exposing them to those books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that board game Cash Flow. It was amazing, and then me and Ambrose have been fast friends ever since. So great stuff. Ambrose, you got the next question, friend.
Yeah, Brett. So I know you just spoke about Rich Dad Poor Dad. Everybody. It's a popular book. So, is there any other education that you've been been going through? Like, have you been listening to podcasts as well?
Yeah, so I guess I'll do the residential side and then the self-storage side for anyone interested. So on the residential side, it's been Max Maxwell, Ryan Dawsey, Astro Flipper. I know Earl, you talked about having relations with Astro Flipping and the owner down there. And those are been the big three on the residential side of just watching YouTube videos, podcasts, just listening to those individuals and just getting the wisdom from them since they have so much experience in the business. And then on the self-storage side, Mike Wagner with the Storage Rebellion, AJ Osborne with Cedar Creek Wealth, and then there's another woman, Stacy Rossetti. She has another great platform. So if you're looking for 3 in residential and 3 in self-storage, their podcasts, their websites, their Facebook groups, just be involved, man. I mean, I would say a certain book, but I've learned more by trying to do things, failing at it, and then asking questions in the group, because you can get your answers, you can get your questions answered and learn a lot quicker.
Most definitely. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna pass the next question to Earl.
All right. So Ambrose knows what I'm going to ask. This is always my second question. So Brett, we have people in the audience that may have put a couple deals under contract. They may have talked to a couple sellers. They may have done some skip tracing, but the vast majority of our audience are still looking to get their first deal. So could you take our audience back to some of the things that you kind of went through before you were actually able to get your first deal, and maybe just the background story on how you pulled everything together?
Yeah, absolutely. Mine was a lot of money spent and nothing to show for it. So I was reading books, taking notes, man. I thought I was taking action. I thought taking action was reading a book and taking notes. It was just, I was lying to myself. And then, I just said, I watched a video, buy a list off ListSource, did it, bought it, mailed it. I think it cost me $1,500 to someone who doesn't have a lot of money. I was like, man, I'm waiting for the calls. Turns out I didn't get any calls because, the list I bought wasn't any good. And I had a bad taste in my mouth. And I was like, kind of screw this. And I think a lot of people, they get excited. And I was this person. You get excited for the first 2 months learning. You try to implement a little bit. You're going to fail. And then there's really no next step. No one's there guiding you usually. So that was kind of lost. I had signed up for actually a RIA group in the local Rochester, New York area. I said, what, I'll go. I don't really want to. It's a cold February night. I don't really want to go. I go, and just being active, man, showing face, introducing yourself. I met a local investor, Brett Iwanowitz, over at Flip for Freedom, and kind of took off from there, man. When I introduced myself, I just said, hey, man, look, I have a probate list in the area. I don't know how many people have it. I'd love to give it to you. And we then had a cup of coffee 2 days later. I shared it with him, and the relationship sparked from there. So finding a mentor or a rock or someone you can kind of lean on, there's really no good science in how to find a mentor. It probably sounds scary to try to ask for someone's help, but just give them value, man. If you have time, I don't have any money. Just, hey, what do you need from me? What can I do for you? Do you need help doing this? Do you need me to drive for dollars? Do you need, what do you need in your business that would help you that I can provide? And actually, funny enough, the first deal, going back to that, 2 weeks later after we met, he said, hey, can you just call, can you call a little bit? So I hate cold calling, but I said, sure. He gave me an old lead. I called him up. We set an appointment and got a contract. So I don't have a story of doing it all myself and locking it up myself, but it's just taking action, being vulnerable, providing value. And I think that's going with sellers. How can you provide a seller value? Will go a long way.
So Ambrose, please unpack that for our viewers, because there's some elements of what he shared that is so consistent with a lot of the guests that we brought onto this platform.
Right. I mean, you spoke highly about networking. Networking can open a lot of doors for you, especially being there and providing a service. Like you said earlier, you brought a list to Brett, and he was happy. He was like, oh, this kid, he's taking actions, and that's probably the best thing you can do as a real estate investor. Actions is the number one thing ever. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of people that come on here as well, they said the same thing. Go to a network event, meet investors who's been doing this, and also get ready to work, because they're going to work you, and you providing service for them.
Yeah,
they're going to be happy to work with you. So, most definitely.
Yeah.
So for me, my next question was, being so young and being hungry at that as well. I it's amazing. What is your day like when you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed in the night?
Dude, I wish I was someone who was like, dude, I wake up at 4:30, drink 2 raw eggs, I hit the weights for 2 hours. I wish I was that person. I'll give you my daily and weekly schedule. So what I do when I wake up, man, I try to wake up around 8. I don't go straight to work. I'll try to, because I don't go to school. I read the news a little bit. Just play with my dog. I just try to enjoy the first hour and set a good mood for the rest of the day, because there's going to be things that come up. But around 9 o'clock, I do a little work for Mr. Iwanowitz. So what I'll do is scrub lists, clean lists, look at any listings, things like that. Usually nothing happens, but I'll just go into Facebook groups and see what folks are talking about, see if I can interject myself. Usually I don't, if I'm being honest, but I just see what's going on and to stay current. For instance, on the probate leads, I actually have a process I do monthly for them, and then during that time slot, I build that list and set it up. Skip trace, anything like that. But then I go to self-storage, and I think a lot of people who don't have money are always wondering, how can I market, whether it's self-storage, it's whatever. How can I do that? I don't have $5,000 to spend. Well, just use your time. For instance, I like sending mailers for self-storage. I'll handwrite the mailers. You don't have to be crazy about, write 15 a day. I'll then look on listings. So I spend like the first hour and a half of my self-storage time just hunting for deals because they're not going to pop up. I have to look for them. I have to look on Craigslist. I have to look on this. I write my mailers, 13 a day. I buy the supplies myself. It's cheaper. I don't order it. I get on the phone with people. Use a service called PropStream to look at property records. And man, you just take off. And in the afternoon, for instance, if we have deals under contract, I work them. So there's I could talk for hours about what has to go on, but just working the deals, lining up contractors, quotes, bids. And then I also spend more time in groups. So in Storage Rebellion, dude, I'll hop on, I'll answer people's questions, call them, connect with them. And then I have a little time to follow up with lenders. I follow up with investors. Heck, I follow up with people I spoke with 4 months ago to just see how they're doing, how their family's doing. Because you just never know where that's going to go, how you can help them impact their life. It only takes 5 minutes even to send them a text. So that's kind of how my day goes. It's a lot of following up with people, connecting, and then just doing grunt work to market. I don't have a lot of money.
Amazing. And so let me unpack that. What I appreciated about how you kind of line things up is that, and this jumped out at me because if I think about the deals that we were able to kind of, really be successful with, we were leveraging some of the groups we were on social media. Mm-hmm. So, so that's part of your daily activity. So that should be a part of everyone's daily activity if you are serious about being successful in any of the spaces in real estate. Social media, is the new tool to open and unlock so many doors. Now, what our audience, Brett, may need a little clarification on. They're very used to maybe prospecting to get a distressed homeowner, whether it's pulling a list from PropStream, maybe it's driving for dollars, or maybe pulling a pre-foreclosure list. But now give us the bridge over to self-storage. How do you prospect somebody who might be interested in sharing or selling their self-storage units?
Yeah, dude, there's a big variety of folks you come across. When I first got into it, I assumed, some people are distressed, they just want to get rid of it. It's a burden. But you really don't come across that. I mean, very rarely do you. And these are, people's babies. I target mom and pop, which you probably hear a lot. They put their, blood, sweat, and tears into it. They built it with their own money. They worked hard to get it, and they care about it. I would say 85% of the people know, who are you? They don't know. Are you going to take good care of it? What are you going to do to it? Are you going to take care of the customers? They're part of our family. So that's one part. But what I would say is, this is how I would prospect. I identify what kind of size of facility I would buy. There's so many kinds. There's tiny ones, there's medium size, there's large ones. What am I looking for? So for me and my partner, we're looking for anything above 20,000 square feet. This is how we start building our list. And we build a list of addresses where we can find storage. Then we just pull the property records. Okay, who are these people? And then once we have that, I get on the phone with them. And to be honest with you, I just kind of shoot the shit and see where it goes. Usually, some people want a specific sales process, but if you're robotic, just answering questions off the list, they're going to be like, okay, there's no connection. Usually, why do they want to sell? I mean, typically, if it's a well-performing facility, it's a cash cow, man. You're making good money. I mean, what's this reason to move on? And then they'll probably go into a life story. And I just relate to them. You be a human being. I mean, some people are going through a lot, and they just need someone to listen. And just listening to someone, whether it's a 5-minute conversation or a 50-minute, it makes a difference because you're humanized. You're not someone in New York. Like I'll call people in North Carolina. They don't know where I am. They assume
Mhm.
you're in New York City. You have tons of money.
Right.
Talk to them, man. Like feel like I'm just a normal guy, and um, I don't even really get into numbers, to be honest with you. I say, hey, what would you be looking to get if I do? And it's not just like, how much cash do you want for it? But hey, man, what are you looking to get for this? If you could sell it and then, fulfill your vision or do anything after it. So it's identify what kind of facility you want and then just talk to the owners and build relationships. If I can't buy a facility right now, I'm going to bet I can buy it 5 years from now because we have this 5 year relationship spanning. And when they're ready to let go, they know me, I know them, and um, give me the opportunity. It would never hit the market.
And what here, and I apologize, Ambrose, but I was telling Brett off air. Part of my personal story is growing up with a father who really was a bit of a landlord slum. I didn't really want to deal with tenants, toilets, or termites. So I'm extremely intrigued with self storage, and have been for a while. So my what I'd like to understand is how do you keep these people on the phone if their facility is performing? Because I mean, I know, and we share this with our audience all the time. One of the things that you want to basically do is make sure that there's enough pain before you even pick up the phone, before you even knock on the door. And typically we move based on the 4 Ds: divorce, disease, death, or what's the fourth one? Debt. Those are 4 Ds. Okay. What would it sound like if you called me up and what would you say to keep me on the phone?
As crazy as it sounds, most of the people you're talking to, I mean, they have well-performing facilities. I would follow that rule. If you look at a facility, you can tell if it's run down, it needs paint, it's overgrown weeds. Typically those people, if it was part of a death in the family, it's a probate. We're actually in the process of purchasing one in Arkansas. That was similar situation. But most of the time, these people, they're just small business owners, and you're calling them up. And what it goes like is, hey, look, this is who we are. We're looking to add to our portfolio. I'm not sure if you'd be open to selling, but I'd love to hear more about it, if you are. And if they say no, what I do is I just kind of go into a conversation about the facility because they might try to shut you down and be like, oh, I see you have U-Haul. How do you like them? And they might be short and abrupt, but sometimes you can get them from just being cold and no to, well, how do you like that? Because they don't know if you're looking at the facility. They don't know if the surrounding area. They don't know any of these things.
Right.
And this might be just another cold caller. But if you can really humanize yourself, it sounds weird, but the picture you used in the presentation, I actually never bought that one. I never did, but it's still elite. I still call them every month. I just say, hey, how you doing? How's your family doing? And I actually have a call with them next week, and we're gonna try to lock it up. Just because it's just, hey, how you doing? I sent them a card for Christmas, ironically. I wish there was a more systematized way, but as long as you can get your information, it's just building a personal relationship with someone. 85% of the time. Now there's another 15 where they're like, hey, I hate this place. I don't have the time to run it. Then it's a little bit more distress, and you can work about getting a price. But most of the time, the people you're talking to, it's making them money, and it's just building a personal relationship. And if they're willing to move on, all right, let's see if we can get to a number that works for everyone.
Interesting. All right. I have other questions, but I'll kick it over to my little brother. Go ahead, Ambrose.
Right. So my question, right? I've seen a lot of people when they first got into real estate, they're going into whole single family, right? What got you into storage unit? Like what got you into that area?
Yeah, I was last July in the Rochester area. Brett has a lot of contacts, and he knows a gentleman by the name of Michael Wagner who started the Storage Rebellion to help people, make the life of their dreams from ordinary garages. And I had said or voiced some concern about buying rentals in Western New York, given the landlord laws. And if I make $200 a month from a house, like how long is it going to take me before I'm financially free or in a position where I feel comfortable? And the answer to that was very long. So I was looking for alternatives, and he directed me towards them. So I originally started out with single family. He pointed me that direction, and found out I really enjoyed it, and here we are. So yeah.
Listen, so it's interesting that you said you was talking about the rental, renting a property, the amount of money that you can get every month is not really, high as. So I was thinking, right, because when I first got into it, I was thinking about maybe buying a property and also putting people into it to rent it out as well. Then I was like, man, it's not gonna, it's gonna take a long time, and I have to buy multiple properties to really get money out of it, every month. So I've just been, having a little conflict here and there. So if you have any advice for anybody that's looking to get into the storage unit, right? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, it's not for everyone, I would say. I think single family rentals are really cool, and I'd be open to them. It just for how, it takes a lot of time for anything, especially storage units. But if you would like to, self-storage is more of a retail business than a real estate, because you're selling different unit sizes, you're selling products. If you like the ability to have more of a small business feel where you can adjust the advertising, you can make adjustments, you can really differentiate your product. There's only so much you can do with a single family house, but if you like having control over a small business, I would say, hey, look into self-storage, because it really is more of a retail business than real estate. It just has the benefits of it. If you set things up correctly, it can be not hands off. It really isn't, but it's close to it.
Okay, appreciate it. Earl, you left for a second.
Yeah, no, my computer was dying. I was telling everybody on Instagram, this is what happens when you're chaotic and you just try to make things happen. All right, so the question I wanted to dive into now is, are we talking hard money, or are we talking private investors? So say you call me up and I'm all about it, and for an individual, how deep do their pockets need to be in order to get into a deal?
All depends. There is a wide variety. I think a lot of people might see it as a commercial asset, might just get grouped into it. People say, okay, it's too much money. Not really, because some investors are buying in areas, Los Angeles, where it's $400,000 or $500,000 a home. You can buy a nice facility for that price. It won't be big. So I guess I can list them out from off the top of my head. You can do seller financing, which is
that's what I was thinking.
Very popular. I know some folks still do, no money down, or just you can set it up however you'd like. I know a common one is like a 3 to 4 year balloon, interest only payments. Because the tough thing with self-storage, especially right now because of COVID, if it's an underperforming asset, banks need to see that you're cash flowing, and because they won't lend on something with the likelihood that you don't have the money to cover the debt service.
Right.
So buy it, you'll get into it. Refinancing is a little bit easier once you've proven the model. Hey, look, the market's viable. I can operate one of these things. You can also do SBA financing. It qualifies for that, 10 to 20% down. You can do conventional, like just going to a regular bank, or you can get private money. I know investors that they'll buy these things in cash, raise all the money themselves. They'll buy them at such a discount that they'll refinance or sell double the money and pay back the investors a nice interest rate on top. You can do mezzanine debt. There's all kinds. As creative as you can be, you can do it.
Interesting. Thank you for that. So, because in my head I'm saying, well, maybe hard money would not be the way to move in this particular animal.
You could. The only problem is, instead of refinancing in 6 months, it's more of a 2 to 3 year finance. So lenders would just be killing you. If you have a good hard money lender, I mean, maybe you could structure it a way that works.
Right.
But yeah, I would say it's not common.
No, I would imagine not. I would imagine not.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about when you think about your 2000 and 2021 goals. What goals have you guys put on the whiteboard for your business?
Yeah, so Brett is actually not a part of my storage endeavors. I just help him with the residential side. I've actually met a gentleman out of California who I met through online, man, on one of these groups. Okay,
Yep.
and again, providing value. So our goal together was to buy 50,000 square feet of non-climate self-storage in 2021. And my personal goal was to do $200,000 in wholesale. Not sure if that is going to be done. It was one of those goals I put on the whiteboard and say, hey, I'm going to do it. It's not a main focus. And the way I'd be doing that is, for instance, I also can do mobile home parks. So this gentleman has been wholesaling mobile home parks for a while, or just in the mobile home park industry. So we'll do referral deals. We're actually going to be trying to wholesale a storage facility in North Carolina. But 200 grand, not my main goal is to buy the storage. I want that long-term appreciation. Yeah, I want the net worth to grow. Right now we're under contract to buy 55,000 square feet of storage in March. Hopefully we'll close on those. And if we close on those, we'd be looking to buy another 100,000 square feet in the last 2 quarters of 2021. So before the year, it was 50,000 square feet. Now we might be adjusting it a little bit.
That's decent, man. Well, you got to put those goals on the whiteboard because if you don't have anything you're shooting at, you're gonna hit nothing.
Yeah.
Yep. And so Ambrose, our next company meeting, we're gonna be talking goals. So it's got to happen. Happen.
You're not, and then another thing is with those goals, I think a lot of people just write the goals. I want to do X, X, and X, which or Y, whatever it is, and you could write all these things out. But if there's no plan, and then I think people might get caught up in having plans. Just look at the goals and be like, what kind of person would achieve those goals? What would they be doing every day? And if you do those things every day, those are your real goals. I mean, the results might not follow. You never know what might happen. But let's say someone who wholesales 200 grand in self-storage. They're writing mailers every single day. They're calling every single day. All right, so I need to do that. Forget about do that. That's great, but I need to be taking actions daily.
Right there. You hit it, man. Action. I mean, I literally just did a live a day ago where we talk about knowledge on ice versus ignorance on fire. You don't have to actually have all of the details laid out. In fact, a lot of times you can move further being a little naive if you're taking a lot of massive action. And that's what I hear Brett talking about. You got to take action. All right. Ambrose, I'm gonna kick it over. We're actually getting ready to wrap this up. I see, we try to keep this nice and tight, 30, 40 minutes. And I don't know where the time's gone.
So Brett, for somebody who wants to get a deal done, right, but don't have the money, but have the time, what can you what advice would you be able to tell them, to get a deal done?
Man, that is just me in a nutshell. I have no money. We're actually doing personal financial statements and gathering a financing package for 2 deals. Just looking at this, I have no money. So this is, I kind of right in someone's shoes like that. The one thing, so if you have time, figure out how much time you have. You don't have to do 5-6 hours a day. If you want to, that's great. Figure a time out and then get on Facebook groups of whatever asset class you want, whether self-storage, mobile home parks, parking lots, single-family homes, mobile homes themselves. I don't care. get on there and just start networking. I mean, usually learning resources, learn a little bit, take a little bit of action, cold calling, whatever it might be, to show that other people that you're serious about this. Because anyone can blow smoke up in the air saying, oh, I want to buy this, I want to buy this many rentals. But I mean, actions speak louder than words, and anyone can look rich or look like they want it, but you have to show it. And then after you do that, start asking how you can help people. You know, PM someone, hey, how can I help you today? You want to hop on a call? How can I help you? That's actually how I met both people, Brett Iwanowitz and my partner out of California. It was just, hey man, how can I help you? I saw you had this question that, I'm new to it, but I'd love to see if there's anything I can help you out with. And that's all you got to do, man. And just, don't get taken advantage of. What I mean by that, there's a fine line between doing the work. And if someone doesn't care about your goals and where you want to be eventually, then I would just be cautious, and that kind of goes into finding a mentor, finding a partner. But if you provide them value, man, just get on those social sites and take action and just connect with other people.
I hear it every second in your statement. Connecting, taking actions, connecting, providing value to somebody who's doing this. So
Brett, I'm not even sure, man. Like every other word that you've talked about this evening, right, I've talked about like in a live, either here or there. I remember doing a live talking about your net work determines your net worth. And that's what you're doing right now. You're building a massive network of connections that it's not even a transactional relationship you're creating. You're just trying to bring some sort of value. And if you do that to enough people, enough times, you are going to be filthy rich.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was on the phone getting a quote for an access control system at one of the facilities we're going to be buying. And it was a gating contractor. I was on the phone with him for over an hour. Mm-hmm. You might be like, what the hell are you talking about? It's just listening to someone and make them feel valued. I text people, so I have 15 minutes every day. I'll text people, I try to keep in touch every month, say, hey man, how you doing? Anything I can do. And over time, these people will go to bat for you. And you just have to build this reputation of willing to help people. Don't expect anything. Be like, it's actually funny. The gating contractor, after I talked to him for an hour, he said, well, he services a lot of facilities in the area. Let me see if anyone's interested. So he's going to be bird dogging just because I was listening. We have a relationship, and it's not this cold transactional thing. I can call him up and, be like, hey man, I need your help. Like, you just never know where that can go, where they can help you and you can help them, and everyone else.
Awesome. All right, man. Look, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I got to ask you right now, man, can we bring you back in 6 months just to find out where you are in terms of your goals for 2021?
Absolutely, man. Hold me to it. What are your goals? Ambrose, Earl, what are you guys looking to do this year?
Hey, man, I'm glad you put it out there, man. I really ambitious, man. We wanted to do 500,000 by August.
Yes.
And so, that was a super ambitious goal. And here's the thing, we may need to change the approach, but the goal remains. Mm. The goal remains.
I'm not going to say what your status is on it, but I respect the changing the approach. I have had to do the same. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's funny, man. Speaking of changing the approach, I was just doing this huge mass blast of mailers to send anyone. And I was like, dude, I'm going to lose my mind because I'm getting on the phone with people and it's not even the place I would buy. So that's cool to hear. And when you bring me back, I'm going to check in on you guys and see how see how you guys are progressing.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
That's ambitious, man. But geez, let me know if you need anything when I'm in Atlanta. When I'm in the Atlanta region, going down to the facility, I'll see what I can do.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So Ambrose, if you could take us out, my friend.
Hey, Brett, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for visiting our podcast today. You know, I learned a lot, you know, at a young age, but so mature, you know, it's mind blowing, which is, it's awesome. Cause, you know, I thought I was young, but seeing somebody younger than me who's doing it, you know, big, I'm like, damn, I got to step my game up. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Kind words, man. How old are you?
I'm almost in my 30s, man. I'm almost there.
You're old. What are you talking about? I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're young. Everyone's young, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I look at time as a blessing, but also you can't sleep on time because you don't know when you're gonna leave. So you gotta use the time what you have right now to accomplish goals, and that's what I'm trying to do right now.
That's
So
awesome.
from Brett, myself, Ambrose, and Earl, our partner couldn't be here today, Kivo. We are wholesale, real housing relief. I keep messing this sign up. I'm sorry. Man.
It's okay,
We are
buddy.
real housing relief. You know, we're through wholesaling. We're revitalizing the community one profit at a time. I have a little tongue twister when I speak. So,
You know, bro, what's
No
so
worries.
funny is Ambrose designed the logo. So it's like
I
this should
know.
like roll off his tongue.
it's like my
It's
accent
all
and
good.
everything mixed with it. It's always catching up. So
I do the same thing. I cannot talk smoothly, even though sometimes it might seem like I cannot do it. So I have the same thing. I roll over my tongue.
if they have many clips of me messing up on this podcast, it would be funny.
We should
I
do
don't
some
know.
outtakes, shouldn't we?
Right.
All right. Well, take care. Brett, appreciate your time, brother.
Have a good one.
Thanks for having me, Earl.
God bless, man.
I'd say, man.